Welcome to Break Free and Thrive. And today my interview is with Brenda Nahs. And Brenda is a personal empowerment coach. She works primarily with women. And the thing that I love about Brenda is I met her through a mastermind. And you never know the amazing people that you're going to be meeting through a mastermind. And when I met Brenda, there were just fireworks going off all around her because she has a lot of enthusiasm about what she does, but she also has a lot of expertise having traveled this personal development journey that she can help a lot of women. So I'd like to welcome you, Brenda, today to our spotlight interview. And I also would like to say thank you for giving me some of your time today.
Well, thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. It's exciting for me to be able to speak with you and your audience.
Okay. Thanks so much, Brenda. So one of the first things that really struck me when I met you was this energy level that you have. And it's kind of, you're at this very high vibrational level. And for me, that was something that was just magnetic because you are someone that really has a lot of enlightenment, awareness, love, and it is those higher vibrational feelings. And you see it. And you see it because when you start talking about the personal empowering that you provide to women, I can see why they love you so much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I guess the energy comes because I just really love what I do. And I love seeing the light bulbs go off in my clients' minds when they really realize where their power is.
Okay. So one of the things that in our conversation, when you had mentioned to me that you were a personal empowerment coach, I was like, what does that really mean? So can you share with us?
Well, you know how most people have goals and desires that are over there. And what I do is I help women, primarily women, get there by first creating awareness on where you are and getting really clear about where you want to go. And then the coaching is all about closing that gap. Now, a lot of people think that they need to close that gap like a slap. You know, it's like, let's just work real hard and power on through and really make stuff happen. But really, it's kind of self-defeating to do it that way because research has shown that if for people who take every 90 seconds that you work, take a little tiny break, whether it's just walk around the block or play a little game of Candy Crush, if that's your thing, or go get a coffee, something like that, and then go back to work. Research has shown that people are 56% more productive when they do that. So one of the things that I do is I help people close that gap. I help women close that gap to where it's fun and it feels easy instead of it feeling like work, because we're already working so hard, you know. So for me, that's just so exciting for me to see women go from, oh, it's a drudge and oh, I'm so overwhelmed and oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this, to like, wow, I got that done and it wasn't as hard as I thought, and thank you for helping me and things like that. So, you know, coaching is just really an opportunity for you to think things you've never thought, to say things you've never said, to learn things you haven't learned, to say what you need to say to set your dreams with a dedicated listener, and to have some accountability. And that's what my coaching is all about. And as far as a personal empowerment, for me, what that means, and I'll probably narrow it down a little bit as I go along, but for me, what that means is, what do you need to feel empowered to live the life of your dreams? For women, that's usually relationship, boundaries, and overwhelm. Those are the things that I hear come up over and over and over again.
Yes. And actually, that is one of the things that when you and I were talking about the difference between what we do, I thought it was great because I kind of heard you really focus on relationships. And I think that's one of the things that women, it's either you're in a relationship and you're not happy, or you want to be in a relationship, but you're really nervous. You know, there's some anxiety about that because the last one didn't quite work out. And I think the beauty of the empowerment that you provide is kind of the step forward in working together with someone to kind of help them get through some of that. Maybe it's overwhelm that they dealt with in the past, or maybe it's that anxiety. So can you share a little about that?
Well, it seems to me that the main thing that gets in the way of our relationships is our ego. You know, we choose being right over being happy way too often. Let me give you an example. You see these beautiful earrings I'm wearing right here?
Yes.
I don't know if you can see them because
Yes.
of my
No,
earbuds, but
I can.
so my husband's not really a jewelry guy. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't, he doesn't see the value in jewelry, especially expensive jewelry. So what do? I buy my own jewelry. I went and bought these yesterday. I love them. So my point is he loves me in so many amazing ways. And so if I focused on he doesn't buy me jewelry, then I would be unhappy. But I'll just go buy my own jewelry and focus on the ways that he does love me. And so that's just one example of how a little bit of coaching can help you change your perspective. Other ways are for women that are wanting to get back out into the dating world. It's like, oh, it's so scary. Well, maybe it's your attitude, not attitude like a bad attitude, but your perspective. You can choose to have it be fun, and I can help you make it fun. So I have a lot of experience in that arena. My husband is my fourth and last husband, because I never really knew how to do it. Whenever I was dating, I was looking for my boyfriend, or I was looking for my husband. I was just looking for that relationship. So after my third divorce, it's like, okay, this is not working. This wasn't what I planned. So I decided to do it differently. And so everything I did was different. I dated differently. I dated to have fun and learn about myself and learn about men and learn about the kind of relationship I wanted. Instead of looking for the one, I just went out to find me, really. And what I gained in that is I gained so much self-respect, so much self-esteem. I really got how powerful, how amazing I am, and how worth it that it is for me to have the right relationship, not just, there's a difference between having a good catch and the right relationship for you, right? I mean, for me, I also work in a law office. So a good catch might be an attorney or a powerful businessman or something like that. But what I realized in my dating and having, trying out different things, what I realized for me is I'm a farm girl, and I found me a farmer, and that's a good kid. That's the right man for me. And just, with all the personal growth and development we have in each other. So with the coaching, we find out who are you? And I can help you figure that out. And I can help you go out and have fun dating. I mean, it's not always fun, but you can decide to make the not so fun parts a good story. The way I look at it is you have a great date or a great story, one or the other. And I've got a few doozies.
Well, having had some experience in that relationship area, what turned the page for you to say, I'm going to start looking differently?
Well, I started my formal education in relationships in 2007 with a 3-day workshop, the Sterling Institute of Relationship Women's Weekend. And that's how I learned the differences between men and women. It's true. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and it's really true. And to appreciate and embrace that is really important, because so here's one thing I learned at the Women's Weekend that may resonate with some of your people. So I have chosen men that are very good to me. They love me. They show me they love me. But in an argument, they would murder me. And I never could understand, how can this man who loves me so much be so cruel in an argument? And what I learned was that it was my piece. Men win. They're competitive creatures. That's how they go out and they slay the dragons and bring home the saber-toothed tiger and all that. It's because they are wired to win and compete. And so when I would push and push and push and push and push, then they would escalate their pushing until they would murder me, and I would shut up, and then the fight was over. But I was hurt. So once I learned that, I never did it again. I learned the difference between choosing to be right and choosing to be happy. Did that
I
answer your
like
question?
that. I like that a lot.
Good.
And someone actually had asked me, putting together a list of all of the qualities that you want in a relationship. Have you done that? And
You know, I actually never wrote them down, although I have women who have. And I think it's important when you're writing down your list to get clear on what's a need and what's a want.
mm,
Because needs, you got to have them. Otherwise, you're going to begin to resent, you know, is a need, like fidelity is a big need for most women, but not
mhm,
all. Some women is just like, yeah, whatever. A lot of money is a need for some women, but not all. So it's important to know the difference between needs and wants. And the needs you need to, and the way to find out, okay, here's a really important thing. So when you are dating a man and you think that, he could be long-term relationship material, how you find out is you risk. You reveal parts of yourself and you see how he responds. You don't tell him what you want him to do. You create a situation, set him up for success, hopefully. We don't want to be that manipulative, but create a situation where he can show up. And then you notice how he shows up. And if he shows up in a way that supports who you are looking for, then great. And if not, maybe, that's it's like, oh, I need to take a look at that. But rather than tell a man how you want him to be, because a man's going to, if he wants you, he's going to do what he thinks you want. But the best way to find out who is he really is to risk, show a part of yourself and see what he does with that. And you don't start with the scariest risk first, you get, and it's the same with women. Women traditionally have trouble with relationships with women. That's another way is take a risk, see how she is, and see if it works for you. But you don't, when you're finding women you can trust, you don't reveal your deepest, darkest secret right away. You start and then you kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper and see where you can and see where it leads you. Now, just because you have a woman, she might be a little bit gossipy or, there might be things that I don't feel safe revealing all of who I am to her. Doesn't mean that she can't be part of your circle. You just learn who can she be for me?
mhm.
And that's okay.
And I think that's also one of the things that you raise. What a woman looks for in a female friend is sometimes we kind of say, and we want this guy who we want to be our best friend. We're looking for the same qualities in him, and that's not the message, or that's not the list that we're looking for. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I digressed a little, didn't I? Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely. That's really good. How many times have we gone to our man and just wanted him to hear us? Just wanted him to be able to just vomit all of our bad day out and have him just listen. But
Mhm.
that's not how men are wired. Men are wired to fix. They want to fix it. You have a bad boss, he hates your boss from now on, something like that. But women typically get it. It's like she just needs to vent, and by the way, it's always a good idea to let your person know what you want from them when you start. I just need you to listen. That way you're setting them up and yourself up for success. But yeah, you're right. So when you go to, one thing that I try to teach women is when you're on your way home from work and you've had a really bad day, call one of your women, get it out of your system, and then you can go home and you can be loving and warm and friendly with your husband, which is what the kind of relationship you want, right? But speaking of be very clear on what kind of relationship you want.
Okay.
And then that way you know what steps you need to take to get there.
Okay. So one of the other questions that I did want to ask was, and I know some women, when they want to go on this first date, they've got their list and they're like, okay, we're going to check all of this off. And they've either checked them off as after they're done, oh yeah, this one I'm going to be going down the aisle with, versus nope, we're going to get rid of him right away. So I think it's jumping to those conclusions. Can you kind of just walk us through And I think you might have alluded to a little bit of that previously, you know, taking it like one little risk at a time or one little step at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you have a first date, you know, the first thing is really about just getting to know him. You know, who is this person? You got to realize that he's human too, and he's putting on his best show, and he's wanting to impress you, or he's nervous and he's scared, and he might just like be a total jerk because it's like, well, she's not going to, if she's going to judge me, I'm going to push her away. So, you know, the first date's really just an opportunity to meet, you know, but the most important thing is have fun, and always, 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 always leave him better than you found him.
Oh, I like that.
Leave him better than you found him. So, you know, make sure, I mean, he's buying you dinner, make sure he enjoys himself. You don't have to go out on a date again, which, by the way, if you're certain that this isn't somebody that you want to have a friendship with or further a relationship with, let him know right away. Don't string him along. Don't ghost him. You know, don't disappear. Have some respect, because, you know, I mean, it's easier to just do it right the first time. Be that confident woman who knows what she wants, and just let him know. It's like, you're a great guy. Thank you for a good time. But, you know, I just don't see a future for us. Good luck to you. You know, it's as simple as that.
Okay. Do you have any rules for online dating?
That's how I met my husband.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. My rules for online dating, I haven't really created any, but I can make it up right now. So a couple of rules for online dating is, don't get too stuck in your rules, for one thing. You know, because I kind of had a rule book on my online dating before I met my husband. And then our first interaction, he showed up completely differently all the way across the board. I mean, I was like, I would have never done that with anybody else. So trust your instincts. And that's another thing we don't do enough. We question our instincts. Our instincts are part of our DNA. And it's really important. If something makes you feel uncomfortable, listen to that. But other than that, some really good practices for online dating is create a profile that really reflects who you are, not who you want to be, not who you think the man you're looking for is looking for, but who you are. Another thing is keep it positive. I don't know about you, but I used to scroll through profiles, and if I'd see if you're this, don't contact me. If you're that, don't contact me. I wouldn't, you know, I looked at women's too, got to check out the competition, right? And that was such a turnoff. So tell me what you like, not what you don't like, unless it's, you know, I don't know. I don't like snakes, you know, something like that. But I mean, that can be part of the discovery once you actually talk to somebody. Another thing is be safe. Always be safe. You know, meet in a public place first. Don't get in a car with a stranger. Ted Bundy was a super charmer, and we know how that turned out, right? So be safe. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are a couple of things. But the main thing is just have fun. Just have fun.
Okay. So one of the other things that you and I have spoken about on a number of occasions is the relationships that we have, whether it's the relationship we have with our partner or someone that we're meeting or other women, is also the relationship that we have with ourselves. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. The dirty little secret. So here's the dirty little secret. Yeah. The dirty little secret is you cannot allow a man to love you more than you love yourself. You cannot love a man more than you love yourself. You cannot allow your children to love you more than you love yourself. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you really think about it, what happens is when someone tries to love us more than we think we're worthy of, which is another way of saying more than we love ourselves, we sabotage it. Suddenly we feel irritable, or we pick at them, or something, you know, we disappear for a little while until we find our comfort level again. And the reason it's called the dirty little secret is our men don't know that there's a limit to how much they can love us. So that's why it's called the dirty little secret. They don't know. All they know is they're just giving us all the love they have, and all of a sudden they hit a brick wall and it hits them in the head. They're just like, what just happened? So, so yeah, the first foundation really, and another thing is you get the man you deserve. And what that means is if you're, and I've had this experience myself, if you are in a level of so low self-esteem, you feel like, nobody's going to love me, or if only this, or if only that. And you may not even know you're in low self-esteem. I know that was true for me. And that's the man you're going to get, is a man that is equal to that woman in low self-esteem. And oftentimes that's somebody who's a taker, someone who could be an abuser. But when you're in a level of high self-esteem, it's like, I am amazing. I know I'm amazing. I know what my gifts are. I know what my strengths are. I know what my weaknesses are, and I'm okay with that. I'm at work on them, or I accept them, whatever the case may be. But when you're feeling really good about yourself, and you know that you're worthy of a really amazing relationship, you're going to attract an entirely different class of men or women, whatever your partner of choice is.
Okay. So this is an interesting point that you raise. So when you were going through the relationship with Kyle, and Kyle is awesome. I would love to interview Kyle to get his perspective. But you have you, and I think you have had that conversation of what you were looking for. And has he also had that similar realization in his, relationships, that you came to this similar conclusion?
Well, it's funny you asked me that, because Kyle, and I've said this to everybody because I think it's hilarious. If designed the
Oops, we lost you.
Karen, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, sorry, I had a call come in. I had to send it off.
Okay.
If I could have designed the perfect man for me, I don't think it would have been Kyle, because I had this mental image of who I wanted. But I've actually had that, and it obviously didn't work out, right? So what happened is I just trusted my instincts. When I met him, it just felt good. It felt right. I just felt like God was telling me. And actually, just a couple weeks before, it's like, okay, God, I'm ready. I'm tired of dating. It was really fun. I had a great time, but I'm ready for the one now. Please send me. And Kyle shows up, and he told me that he actually had the same conversation with God a couple of weeks before that too. It's like, I'm so tired of this. I'm ready. And I forgot what your question was.
Well, you had that conversation with him, what he was looking for and what you were looking for, and that's how the two connected. I think you both connected with God, and that was you were looking for each other.
Right.
But did you have what you were looking for and what he was looking for? And I know Kyle's also had, quite a bit of work in the personal development area. Obviously, that was some of the connection, but did you get into some of that with him on, what worked, what didn't work, etc.?
Oh yeah, we talk about all that kind of stuff. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that attracted him to my online profile was that I had put in there, I've done a lot of personal growth and development between Sterling and Landmark, and he had done the whole PSI seminars curriculum. So we had that in common, and that creates a special bond because, when you've gone through that kind of work, you really need someone who's willing to take a look at themselves, even if they haven't gone through the work. But you need to have someone who's willing to be self-aware and take a look. And so part of our journey together has been, he's done what I did, and I've done what he did. And so I've done the whole site curriculum too. And so that was it. We've also exchanged some funny stories about past relationships. And actually, his ex-wife and the mother of his daughters is our accountant. We spend Christmas Eve at their house every year. We spend time with them for Thanksgiving because that's where his girls are, right? My daughters come with us sometimes. So, that's another thing, is you don't have to be enemies with the ex. It works so much better. And since I came on this personal growth tour of my own, starting 11 years ago, I've made friends with my exes. And it feels so good knowing that I don't, that hostile energy out there, it just creates a vibration that is toxic, even if it's somebody you don't ever see. But when you think of them, you get this ugly pit in your stomach. That's not healthy. So, and I'm granted, sometimes it can't be helped because the other person is just not enrolled in being kind. But, we are way more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. We women are very powerful.
Yes. Are you planning on doing any retreats for women, in the relationship area? Kyle being a part of that, bringing in couples or, singles. And that I think would just be awesome. And I'm not trying to put
Yeah.
something out there, but I didn't know if that might also be on your path.
Yeah, actually, a year and a half ago, we bought a property up in Heber, up in the White Mountains of Arizona.
Okay.
And the whole premise for us for doing that was to host retreats, like couples retreats is our main idea. And it's kind of funny because we've got sleeping for 8. Besides us, we have a king size bed, but we've got 2 rooms with bunk beds. So we're going to have the women over here and the men over there. And this is how much touching you can do during the weekend. This is about learning about each other without the sexuality. And that turns on the sensuality sometimes, just knowing that, you're discovering this person you've been married to for how many years anew in an environment where sex is not on the table. And suddenly, all of a sudden, they're much more alluring, they're much more interesting, and you just feel this heart connection. So, yeah, that's something that it's in our vision, but we haven't quite managed to get it out in reality just yet. But stay tuned. It's
I was
coming.
going to say, stay tuned because
Yeah.
I'm feeling very energized and excited about that as well.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. We've got all kinds of fun plans for the property. Yeah.
Okay, great. So do you have any highlights that you would like to share, kind of lessons learned that you've kind of tapped into as a result of, personal empowerment, working with women, that might be something that, is kind of a surprise?
Mm. Um, So a couple of things. So just by working with women and doing, the fun thing for me about this growth is that as I help women create the lives that they want, my life improves as well, because, everything starts at home first. But some of the things that I've discovered is I have one couple that I'm working with who, they have this amazing relationship. They're happy together. They're best friends. They've got children. Everything's wonderful. He's in awe of her. She's in awe of him. But their bedroom is like a war zone. He wants it more than her. She feels pushed. She feels resistance. And what she discovered in one conversation is that when I feel like I have the opportunity to choose, suddenly I just realized I actually do like sex. And this for 22 years, she thought she was just doing it out of obligation. But when she finally just really took responsibility for, let's just see what I want. And it's not that he was pushing her or demanding her. She just had this perception of what a wife's duties are. So, before they got married, it was wild sex. And after she got married, like the next day, all of a sudden she's got resistance because she had this program running about what it's supposed to be. That's one thing. I have another client who's been single for 19 years, raised her kids on her own, and now she's actually getting married in Hawaii next week. But she came to me because she, 19 years, she's been a single woman. She's been living the single woman's life. She can do anything she wants with anybody she wants. She gets to make all the rules. And if you don't like it, so long, Charlie. And she knows that that's not going to make a healthy relationship. So she came to me and comes to me to be more generous and to really realize that her single woman identity can go now. And now she's developing her married woman identity, which is an identity she's decided is generous and don't take things personally, which, 20 years of taking things personally, it kind of takes a while to break those habits. So
Absolutely.
and it's funny, just a quick conversation. And that's the thing I wanted to mention about coaching. I don't know if any of your other interviewees have covered this, but the thing about coaching is this: I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to, because I'm clear that you are brilliant on your own. You have your own answers. You just don't know what they are yet. They're uncovered in your history or in your self-esteem, but when it gets down to it, when I ask you the right questions, the light bulb comes on. And that's what I'm here for, is to see that light bulb come on. And I just can't think of anything I love more than that.
Well, and I think that's also one of the things I want to highlight. It's a difference between having the light going on for 10 watts versus you turn that light on and sometimes it hits 150, and it's, unless you tap into the questions that you're asking, it's not going to, burn brightly, or the lumens aren't going to be going off because you're not tapping into the authenticity, which you had mentioned earlier. And I think one of the other things that was really energizing about your conversation is talking about that generosity, because I don't think sometimes we think about our brilliance or being generous or having that light go off brilliantly. And I think that's one of the things that is really, I'm going to say, is very cool about, having that conversation and having someone that's been down that path to say, I know you're brilliant. Now I just need to, ask the right questions so that you can see how brilliant you are.
And I love that. What you just said is why I got into coaching in the first place, is because, I've always been an encourager. Ever since I was a little girl, my friends would come to me, and then when I did the Sterling Women's Weekend, then I did a whole bunch of leadership with Sterling, and I've coached a lot of women informally as a girlfriend. And I could just always see that I always felt like, it's like, if only you could see yourself through my eyes, if only you could see how amazing you are, really, because we all think so. The only one who doesn't is you. So that's what really got me excited and inspired to go on the coaching, to become a life empowerment coach.
And it is a journey. It is definitely a journey. And I think someone, when they decide, I want to work on my relationship, or I want to work on, being generous, or having the life that I dream of, people, like you said earlier, people think it's like, okay, I made that decision, now it's going to happen. And you've said, it takes work. You've been working on this for a number of years. So I have one other question, and that is, the book behind you, Taming Your Gremlin, is like, there are a lot of people saying, tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Well, the gremlin is that voice inside of you that says, you're not enough. You're not smart enough. You don't deserve it. Who do you think you are? How dare you show your brilliance? How dare you? So many women are, why don't you have your goals? A lot of women think, well, it's because I'm afraid of failure. No, you're not. You're afraid of success, because what if you were really successful? Then what would be expected of you? And that gremlin inside of you says, who do you think you are? How dare you go for that? You can't do that. And so Taming Your Gremlin is learning how, and it's always going to be there. I'm sorry to tell you, but it's always going to be whispering in your ear. But we can turn down the volume, and we can have a counter. We can turn it off.
Well, and I think this is one of the other things. I think you help women turn that gremlin down, but it becomes a friendly gremlin rather than a painful gremlin. And I think that's one of the things that that's really an attribute that you offer when you're working with someone.
Yeah, I just love women. I just love, I love seeing women love themselves. And I am so honored to be a part of that when it happens.
Well, and that's also one of the things that I would like you to share with us. So if someone wants to connect with you, tell us how they would do that.
Yes, thank you for that. So we have a couple of options. I have a Facebook group. It's called Your Empowered Life. And to join it, you just type in your search bar on the internet, joinyouремpoweredlife.com. And that will take you right to my group page. Okay. And there's 3 little entry questions. Please answer them, because I'm not going to allow you in until you do. My coach, that's my coach's advice. I have a coach too, and they're just simple. And what the purpose of those questions is, so that I know what you're looking for. Why are you here? What can I do for you? Okay. Another way is to just send me an email at Brenda empowered-life.me. Brenda at empowered-life.me.
Okay.
And that will send you to send me an email. And the first discovery session is free. It'll give us a chance to see if we're a good fit. You know, do you want to work with me? Do I want to work with you? Can I help you? You know, the lovely thing about it is that there are so many life coaches out there, and that's okay, because not everybody's a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm not the person that's going to get you where you want to go, it's good to find that out, and maybe I can refer you to somebody else. So those would be two really good. I've got a website, but I'm not going to give it to you because it's not ready for prime time yet.
Okay. And the other thing that I wanted to reiterate was, so below the video, we're also listing the your Facebook group, and we're also going to be adding your email address so that women can get in touch with you. But I do want to say, Brenda, this has been an extraordinary opportunity to learn about you, but I think we've also learned a bit about ourselves in the process.
That would be lovely. That would be lovely. Thank you.
Yes. And what I would like to say is thank you so much for joining us today on Break Free and Thrive. And I would like my listeners to also get in touch with you so that they can have that empowered life that they deserve, that they are worthy of, and that they will love. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.